All right, salam alaikum, everyone.
Also with you.
So today I'm with Joseph Jacobs, call him Joey. He's a Christian, and you know, you noticed before I've had Christians on. We love to have these conversations. We do have a lot of commonalities with each other, and it also says in the Quran that to always speak for with the commonalities first, and then later on we do have our differences, but that comes later where we speak about that. But we do have a lot in common, and one very important thing we have in common is the importance of religion, and that's what we want to get into today. But first, maybe just a little about you, Joey, and just your background of your faith and how important religion is in your life.
Yeah, I was actually baptized Catholic as a child, and I went to private school, Catholic school, Our Lady of Grace out here in San Fernando Valley, and then went to Chaminade, so another Catholic private school.
I went to
After
private school.
I went to
Nice.
private school, yes, I was a private school kid. My parents definitely felt that that was their best choice for me, and obviously I didn't have any qualms with it. But until I got through my formative years in a college. I just didn't really see like a lot of connection to everything I was believing in or supposed to believe into. And I wouldn't say like I fell away or anything, but like I just didn't really pay attention to it. Like it was like something I had to do with my family, and I always got brought up as knowing and believing in God and everything, and having a faith. Um, but I kind of just started like formulating my own like sense of morality and self and faith.
Mhm.
And I came to follow more into Christianity. I know people might say like, well, what's the real difference? There's subtle differences in both, but I just felt that Christianity was more my pathway. And I did have I guess it's turning into a little bit more than I expected to go into, but like I actually did fall away from Christianity in a way where I went with a youth leader. They wanted to be like a mentor and a youth minister at
Mhm.
this one church, and I did their response just like threw me off, and I just couldn't bring myself to go back. And then found back on my own. I still prayed. I still wanted to have that belief and
You
that
still
belief
wanted that
system. Yeah,
connection with your creator.
because I guess that brings me to the first point, and I think this is something we both agree on here, is just that this isn't our final stop. This isn't like we don't stop after we die. Yes, our bodies stay here, but there is something else beyond life on earth. And that's kind of just, I guess that can be one of my main reasons for constantly searching for my
Right.
faith. Yeah.
Yeah. They're always, I mean, to think about life just to end, like no one knows, obviously. I mean, not a religious aspect. They think you just die and that's it. But how do you really know? I mean, do we not have a soul? Do we have a soul? What happens after? There has to be an answer there somewhere, right? And
100%.
if you don't have it, and you're just living on I don't know, you're not religious, and that's a very scary thing, right? You can just live and die and not know, and you're taking a huge chance because you're living on you're basing your life on
This
just
life.
this one. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
And
this life.
and I know when you hear it's like a cliche thing, you only have one life to live, right? And
No, maybe
that's
not.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, physical life, I guess, in that sense. But there's obviously we're going to be going into more different, not differences, but like um, things that we throughout the Quran or throughout the Bible that actually confirm that this is not the last stop, and we do have a soul. It testifies to that, and things of that nature. So, um,
Right. And if you think about it, a lot of people say, oh, because we have, or, a lot of religious people will say, oh, because you have another life, you don't really, you're not as free in this one, or some kind of thing like that. Or religion, you're controlled, how they say that type of stuff.
yeah,
You're not as free in this life because you're controlled by a certain creator or book or whatnot, the cliche things they say.
mhm,
The way I look at it is, if they believe that this is their only life, right? So pretend it's like a video game. If you have many, like two lives in a video game, or you have one life, which one are you going to be more cautious and more not trying to do, be adventurous and things like that? If you only have one life, you're not going to be as adventurous. You're going to be more cautious. You're going to be more less free because this is your only life. You're living scared, right? But if you know you have another life after this one, this is just a test. You're going to be more free, more outgoing, more optimistic. And I'm not saying people who are not religious are not like that, but I'm just putting a different spin on it. If you know you have something after this is not the only life, that you're going to be more free, more taking chances, more going out there, being less scared of death. And if you're less scared of death, you're just living a happier life.
I mean, that's also subjective to each individual of like how free that is, right? Like some people like to bungee jump, some people like to jump at airplanes. It's being like, I only got one life to live, so I'm just gonna be in pure bliss and free fall. Like, and I've heard that's even great. Like, but still bizarre. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever do that. Neither here nor there. I don't want to digress too away from the conversation, but I get what you're saying. And I do agree in a lot of the aspect of that comment. I also think that just like thinking in a vacuum here of we live this one life and it is a test, but like everything that I've done in this life, like it doesn't leave with me. So why do I have to constantly be in search for everything here on this earth? It doesn't come back to me. So there's got to be a fundamental purpose to why I'm living this life. And I am given so many freedoms, but are they all a good thing for me? Are they here to deter me from getting somewhere else?
Right.
Who is in true control of this dominion here on earth? Like there's a lot of things out there that are kind of try to block your way into the afterlife, heaven, if you will, paradise. And it's our job and our purpose to really find that fundamental purpose of why we're here on this earth. So,
right,
and that's where faith comes in.
Yeah, everything's temporary, and we know that, everyone's going to pass. It's one of the objective facts in life. Everyone's born, everyone dies. So, I think we have a limited amount of time to figure it out before that time comes, and it kind of leads us into how do we know what's good and bad? How do we know what's good for us, what's bad for us, without religion or without our Creator telling us? Because you see today many arguments go back and forth about abortion, about all these sensitive matters, right? That go on. Oh, that's wrong, that's right. But really, it's going to go on forever, because who really knows who's wrong and who's right if your Creator didn't tell you? But if for a religious perspective, you just go to the Bible, to the Quran. Oh, God says this, it's right or it's wrong. That's it. There's no arguing. It's an objective fact. So when it comes down to that, there's no bickering back and forth. We know what's right and what's wrong, and we stick to that. So that's why when Muslims and Christians, we're strong in our faith, and some of us are, but when we stick to our moral values. I'm not saying a person without religion isn't morally good or morally wrong, but they could be very, very good, but it's subjective. Whatever they think is good must be good, and whatever they think is bad must be bad, and not everyone's going to agree with you.
Yeah, I mean you hit the nail on the head. Everything like that is also very subjective, but you're thinking with a human mind as opposed to the all-knowing divine mind that is our Creator, and that's why we fundamentally believe that the books that we believe in have that central, I guess, cliche guideline, if you will, but like it's there for a purpose, and it's standing throughout time, ages, centuries, and it's still been a stronghold for millions of people throughout Islam, throughout Christianity, and it gives us that purpose and to strive for, as far as morally speaking. And I think that's what you were transitioning or segue into. One of the reasons for your faith, Joseph, as being where you get your morals from, especially being in this world where, especially now, throughout the pandemic, we're seeing a lot of people's true colors. And morally speaking, it's not that good, to
Right,
say,
exactly.
I don't want to, obviously go into point blaming fingers either, but because that's neither here nor there. It's just morally speaking, we see it every day on the news. Like there's just the tragic and horrific displays of what humans can do,
Yeah.
and pointing fingers and blaming and constantly arguing and then battling over just egregious things. So
Yeah, it becomes very individualistic where it's only about me and my needs and no one else's. And
and my
it just
beliefs are
it
better
just
than yours, XYZ. Yeah.
right. And it
Yeah.
kind of destroys society because there becomes so much conflict between peoples and parties and groups. And when it comes to specific religions, like, yeah, we have bickering within religions, we don't agree on things, but there's always one point where we all agree on, we all point to, and that's the belief in God. And God says this, and that's it. It's the end of the story. But when you get that out of the picture, like you said, it just becomes all subjective values and beliefs. So it gets confusing for people, and it goes down a road you don't really want to go down. It becomes destructive. And really, what religion does, I feel like it brings um, the structure back, especially within families. With nowadays we see the abortion rates are very high. Single father homes, single motherhood homes. Um, a lot of the fornication, adultery, these things that religion is against, right? So with both Christianity and Islam, both talk a lot about building the family structure, starting early, getting married, having kids, and staying close together. Because it is a very common saying like how they conquer people is divide. You divide people, and that's how you conquer them. And what's better than dividing families for people who are trying to control you, right? So you divide the mom, you divide the mother, and there's statistics that say like single family homes, most likely the kids, I think it's a high percentage of chances that they end up doing drugs or in prison and stuff like this. Not every, of course, not every single family home, but it's a high percentage. So it's so important you have that family structure. And that's what religion does. It makes sure, and it's for that reason, because God knows that it's super important to have a mother and a father there, and to stick together as long as you can to raise your children so they do the same thing when they grow up.
Yeah, man, 100%. Um, Especially core for our beliefs and my beliefs, is the family system. Why we have a father and a mother and we are the children. It really, really paints a picture to, especially the Lord's Prayer of, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So everything on earth and is a reflection of what's in heaven, even the family system. So that's a core belief for me, in my non-denominational Christian faith, is actually is what I'd say. But it is Christian because we have a Christian essentials and Christian ideals. But definitely the family system is a core reason for my importance of religion, as it's displayed here on earth, why we are children to our father and mother, and from there.
Yeah, I think we touched on mostly what we wanted to touch on, how important religion is, and just the belief in God. It brings meaning,
Balance
meaning,
and
purpose, balance, everything in your life, and you know, it stops you from asking so many questions. Like you're worried all the time, like what's this life about? What's my purpose? I mean, religion it answers it for you. I mean, there's different religions. Yes, I mean we're gonna get into that later,
yeah,
but once you're firm on your faith and you believe it's right, it really brings peace, to your heart, and
100%.
then you end
Oh
up
yeah,
leaving things that were bad for you, and gearing towards your purpose in life, and that it makes it so much more pure and peaceful, and you can focus on what you really need to focus, things that matter. So that pretty much sums it up why how important religion is. And anything else you want to add to that before we end it off?
yeah, man. I agree with everything you said there, and I think sometimes if you just sit back and if you ever have taken the time out to pray, I'm not going to make any assumptions. but it's like if you have prayed, it really, like Joseph said too, it balances out your life, especially with everything going on out there. But it just, I'm trying to describe the feeling.
It's
It
hard.
is
It's
so
just,
it is rewarding. You get those, I don't want to say tingles, but like just that feel good mentality that just kind of, like, I feel like it just pours upon myself when I'm in true oneness with when I
it's
communicate
like,
through
yeah,
prayer.
you're fulfilling your purpose of why you're here. It's just
Yes,
worshiping your creator.
absolutely. And thankfulness in the prayers, asking for forgiveness, and also praying for the insight, the foresight to distinguish right from wrong as we navigate through life, because we are victim to our environment too, to an extent of we have sinned, but we are trying to right those wrongs with each passing day of our lives as we have a privilege of living here. But we are trying to get back to our true home, which is paradise in heaven. So with that, Lord Joseph, I thank you. I hope that we continue this chronological kind of navigation through our faith, and enjoyed it. Peace be with you, brother.
Amen to that. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you
Amen.
for watching. Stay tuned for the next one with Joey.